Imagine the flicker of an old film projector in a crowded theater. The year is 1928. The world is still recovering from World War I. Jazz is in full swing, and silent movies rule the screen. Then, something unexpected happens. A small, cheerful mouse with round ears and big eyes appears, whistling as he pilots a steamboat. The audience bursts into laughter and applause. They don't know it yet, but they're witnessing the birth of an icon, Mickey Mouse. Mickey's official birthday is November 18th, 1928, the day Steamboat Willie premiered at the Colony Theater in New York City. But to understand how that little mouse came to life and why his birthday matters, we have to rewind a bit to a time when his creator, Walt Disney, had lost almost everything. In the mid-1920s, Walt Disney wasn't yet the visionary we know today. He was a young animator from Kansas City trying to survive in Hollywood. His first big success was a character named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, created for Universal Pictures. Oswald became a hit, and Walt thought he'd finally made it. But when he went to renew his contract, he discovered that Universal actually owned the rights to Oswald, and worse, most of his animation team had been hired away by the studio. Walt was left with almost nothing but a few loyal colleagues and a train ticket back to California. It was on that train ride, somewhere between New York and Los Angeles, that Walt began sketching ideas for a new character, something funny, mischievous, and full of heart. The legend says he first thought of calling him Mortimer Mouse, but his wife, Lillian Disney, suggested something friendlier. Mickey, she said. And just like that, the name that would define an empire was born. But in 1928, creating a new cartoon character wasn't enough. Walt needed something revolutionary, something that would stand out from every other silent animation. That's when he came up with a daring idea: synchronize sound in animation. It was a technological gamble. No one had successfully done it for a cartoon before, and many thought it was impossible. But Walt believed it could be done. The result was Steamboat Willie. The short film was simple: Mickey steering a riverboat, whistling, teasing a parrot, and turning everyday objects into musical instruments. But it was bursting with energy, humor, and life. And, most importantly, the sound was perfectly in sync. Every whistle, every note, every squeak matched Mickey's movements. When the film premiered on November 18th, 1928, audiences were stunned. They'd never seen or heard anything like it. The New York Times called it ingenious. Theaters began demanding more Mickey Mouse cartoons, and almost overnight, the tiny mouse became a sensation. Within a year, Mickey had fan clubs, merchandise, and a newspaper comic strip. For Walt Disney, the success was life-changing. The studio that had been on the brink of collapse suddenly had a star. And not just any star, but one who could embody optimism during some of the darkest times in modern history. Remember, the late 1920s and early 1930s were marked by the Great Depression. People were struggling, jobs were vanishing, and the world felt heavy. But Mickey was light, cheerful, hopeful, and always ready to laugh at trouble. He wasn't rich or powerful. He was clever, determined, and kind. In a way, he became a symbol of perseverance. A little guy facing the big world and somehow always coming out smiling. And Mickey didn't stay the same. As animation evolved, so did he. In the early 1930s, his design softened, his eyes gained pupils, his movements became smoother, and his personality more charming. In 1932, Mickey's Revue became one of the first cartoons to introduce another Disney legend, Goofy. That same year, Walt Disney received a special Academy Award for the creation of Mickey Mouse, an early acknowledgement that animation was becoming an art form. By the late 1930s, Mickey had gone from a mischievous troublemaker to a polished gentleman, polite, heroic, and universally loved. He wasn't just a character anymore, he was a cultural ambassador. When Fantasia premiered in 1940, Mickey appeared in one of his most iconic roles, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Wearing his blue hat and red robe, he became the very image of imagination itself. reaching for power beyond his grasp and learning from his mistakes with humility and wonder. Over the decades, Mickey became far more than a cartoon. He became the face of the Walt Disney Company, a symbol recognized in every corner of the world. When Disney opened his first theme park in 1955, Mickey was front and center. Walt himself called him his partner, saying, "I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse." Mickey's influence reached beyond entertainment. He became a part of global culture, appearing on everything from postage stamps to NASA spacecraft. During World War II, Mickey was painted on bomber planes as a good luck charm. In the 1980s and 1990s, he represented childhood joy to entire generations. And in 2009, he even got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, becoming one of the few fictional characters to receive that honor. But what makes Mickey's birthday, November 18th, truly special isn't just that it marks his debut. It's that it celebrates an idea. Mickey Mouse was born out of loss, frustration, and risk, and yet he became a global symbol of joy, creativity, and resilience. Every November 18th, when Disney fans celebrate Mickey's birthday, they're not just celebrating a cartoon, they're celebrating the power of imagination. Walt Disney once said that Mickey represented the things I myself couldn't say. In many ways, Mickey was Walt's alter ego, a reflection of his optimism, his humor, and his relentless drive to create something magical out of hardship. Nearly a century later, Mickey still has that spark. From the classic black and white whistling mouse to the modern digitally animated hero, he continues to inspire new generations to dream, laugh, and believe in the impossible. So the next time you see those familiar ears on a t-shirt, a theme park, or a movie screen, remember the journey behind them. It all started with a man who refused to give up and a mouse who taught the world to smile again. And that's why every year on November 18th, we celebrate not just Mickey's birthday, but the birth of modern animation and the timeless idea that even the smallest dream can change everything.